Hey everyone, it's Asia, founder of multidimensionalu.com. Hey, so I promised you all some stories by the fire. So the weather did not cooperate last night. It was just way too windy to do this last night. So here I am on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's an April morning here in the Rocky Mountains of Idaho. And we are in one of my favorite places that we come out to in the spring. And this is the location of a pretty extraordinary story. It is, we'll call it the Dolphin gifting story. And it involves the Sasquatch people, the interdimensional Sasquatch people. So some of you already know that the Sasquatch people are more of a fourth dimensional being. If you don't know any of this is all new to you. It certainly was to me for me in 2011-12. There's a whole backstory here, and I'll tell that I think some other time. But suffice it to say that I got very interested in the Bigfoot phenomenon, and I thought it was a hoax. But for some reason, I researched it, and started to comprehend, okay, there's something more going on here than just an ape in the woods, right? And it was at the same time that all of my abilities were reactivating and my reawakening was happening, and so I was working as a spirit medium, and so regularly telepathically communicating with people's loved ones that had died. And so my husband came home from a turkey hunting trip out here, and he had been talking to the Sasquatch people because he and I both knew of them at that point all weekend or throughout his trip. And the last morning he got up to do Tai Chi, which he does every morning. And this is wilderness. I mean, I don't know if you could see, but this is not a campground. It's not a national park. Very few people come up here. Someone had left a turkey feather upright in the stump in his camp that had not been there the night before. And he knew on some level that it was a gift, but he checked with me. And of course, I got very excited. And I said, we're all going to go out next weekend. And so we did. We were packing up and I was shopping. And I thought to myself while I was shopping for groceries for the trip, you know, I can communicate with the dead, right? Telepathically. I should be able to communicate with them, with the Sasquatch people that had left him this feather. So I put out a line, is the best way I can describe it. And I told them, hey, we are coming out. Would you like something from the store? And I could feel the connection. There's just this way that you can feel these connections. Same thing when you're communicating with people who have crossed over and are in spirit. And the first thing I heard in response was fish. And I thought, oh Lord, no, I'm not bringing fish out into the woods. Later on, we figured it out. My husband on his trip had been sharing those yummy, cheesy goldfish crackers that my daughter eats. And that's what they were talking about. Who doesn't love those things, right? But I didn't know that at the time. So I said, next on your list, please. And I heard chocolate, and I thought, well, okay, great. So we often bring a chocolate cake out when we come out now. But I thought, it's springtime. The bears are coming out, waking up. Who's to say it's just not going to be a bear that eats this food that we leave out? I'm going to ask for something in return. So my daughter, when she was 5, told us she was a dolphin, right? Part of the cetacean group from the Sirius system. And I thought, I'm going to ask for a dolphin. So I did. I said, bring us a dolphin. And then I'll admit, I thought that was a little bit crazy, but I was like, nope. I let it stand. The request, I let it stand. So we drove the 2.5 hours up into the mountains here, and we got to the same site he had been at. We got out of the truck, and I went over to look at the stream, and my daughter had to, go potty. So my husband took her over. They went over to this clump of grass by a tree, and I hear them talking, and I hear my daughter say, Daddy, what is that? And he's like, I don't know. What is it? And then I hear her say, it's a dolphin. And at this point, my eyes fly open. I'm in that weird state of almost shock. It was like, what did they just say? And out of the grass, they pulled this little guy here, okay? This tiny little 2.5-inch plastic dolphin that, I don't know if you can see that. It looks like it's gotten a little bit burned. It wasn't out in the open. It wasn't part of a group of toys that had been dumped. It was literally in a clump of grass that they had been guided to telepathically exactly to that spot to pull this out. And, you know, look, I don't know, you can see how green it is and the grass. At this point, I hadn't shared with them what I had requested, and so I explained, and then we all just burst into tears because it was so incredibly touching and emotional for us, and absolutely stunning. And you know, I know for many of you, you've gone through a journey similar to my own, which is having to go through your own skeptic programming, and there's nothing that can counter direct experience, right? So what a lovely story, right? We were all extremely, extraordinarily touched. We have other stories of interacting with them, but this one, I think, is just so, it's just so beautiful, right? For them to have taken the trouble to, I don't know, where did they find this, right? But they did, and they brought it right to us. So, you know, as I revisit this, the emotion comes back. It's just so profoundly beautiful. And I guess, you know, these stories are really fun, and I look forward to sharing so many more. But the message here is really, there are just so many diverse consciousnesses and forms of consciousness and beings in the multiverse and on this planet. And it's time for humanity to wake back up. And I mean, I think have some humility. I certainly have gone through that, especially when it comes to the Sasquatch people. They are more spiritually advanced than humanity is. They live from their heart center. And some of my earliest teachers were Sasquatch, well, men and women, and they always talk about your heart fire, and they worked quite diligently with me on that. So, yeah, just open yourself up to the possibilities that there are beings that have abilities that we are just beginning to remember, cloaking, fading out, right? Moving interdimensionally, raising your vibration so that you are not perceived by humans. Because I think a lot of people get into that. It's like, well, if there are these big apes running around the woods, why haven't we found them yet? Well, they're interdimensional. And if most of people are still living in that mechanistic worldview, right? So I won't get off on that tangent, right? We could talk for a long time about that. Like, just enjoy the magic of that story. I hope that touches you the same way that it touched my family. So there you go. The dolphin gift. All right, with that, I hope you have a magical multidimensional day, and I look forward to the next story.